Welcome. This accounting mini lecture covers contribution margin. One key element of cost volume profit analysis, or CVP analysis, is contribution margin analysis. Contribution margin is computed by taking our sales revenues less our variable cost. Okay, what this basically tells us is it tells us the amount of our revenues that are going to be left over in order to cover all of our fixed cost for a given period. So again, to compute this, we take sales revenues minus variable cost. This gives us our contribution margin. We can then subtract our fixed cost to arrive at net income. In this example here on the slide, you can see that they have computed the contribution margin not only in total, but they've also computed it on a per unit basis. This can especially be helpful when you're doing a break-even analysis, which is going to be covered in a separate lecture. But to compute the contribution margin per unit, we basically take the sales revenue that we receive per unit of sales, and we subtract our variable cost associated with one specific unit, and that gives us the amount of contribution margin for 1 unit of sales. So this tells us the number of dollars that we receive from each sale that can be used to cover fixed costs for the organization. Now, in addition to computing contribution margin as a whole, we can also compute our contribution margin ratio. The formula for this is going to be the contribution margin per unit divided by the sales price per unit. So again, on this slide, we can see that they've already computed the contribution margin per unit. We have $100 as our sales revenue per unit. We have $70 of variable cost, leaving us with a contribution margin per unit of $30. So in order to compute our contribution margin ratio, we take that contribution margin per unit of $30 and we divide by our sales revenue per unit, which in this example is $100. And that tells us that our contribution margin ratio, which is the relationship between contribution margin and sales revenue per unit, is 30%. Thank you for watching this video on contribution margin.